Welcome to Beyond Protocol Tutorials by Deveroes. In this tutorial, I will be taking you through the process of creating alloys and components to design and build a light fighter. The same concepts of this video can be applied to making medium and heavy fighters as well. Later I will go on to escorts and corvettes that require a little more balancing and design techniques. Let's get to it. Alright, to get started on our new light fighter, the first thing we are going to do is we are going to design ourselves an engine. So let's go in here and design an engine for a light fighter. And we want to give it as much speed and maneuver as possible for right now. Now these are not perfect alloys for this, but they will be good enough to get us by for this demonstration. So we'll just use our normal engine alloys that we created a while back. And the easiest way to get everything all set together is just to hit the auto balance. It gives you a nice starting off point. So now we have our engine. Let's give it a name. Go with Light Fighter Engine 3030. Now we know it's for a light fighter, it's an engine, and that it's 30 maneuver, 30 speed. Now we will submit this design.
Research complete.
And there's our light fighter. And now we need to keep in mind that the hull required is 12. So I'm going to write this down in my little notebook here. 12 hull. And we also take note that it creates 250 power. Now we do not want to research this just yet in case we need to make any adjustments to it. Now, our next step is going to be designing a hull to get started. So let's go to our hulls. I personally like the Interceptor, and I'm going to increase his hull size to 90. Select our hull, and now, as we said before, we need a engine compartment of 12. So let's select our engine and get him up to 12. So 2 now, 4, 6, 10. Alright, use 12.9. We can probably get rid of a few here. Oh, 11. So let's put another engine compartment back in there, and now we have 12. Now one of the things that we need to put in here also is a radar, but we will be using the beginning radar. The beginning radar requires 10 hull and 19 power. So for our radar, we're just going to put enough in here to where we have 10. Okay, there we go. Now we have 10. So, since now that we know our radar requires 19 power and our engine produces 250, we're going to take the 250 and minus 19 from that. So, is going to give us 231 power to work with on our weapon. And let's go ahead and start allocating some hull for our weapon so we can see how much hull we can put in the weapon. Now if you look in the top right here, you can see how much space is left in each arc. So let's try, and our lowest one is 8 right now, and we can only use 3 because of our armor. Our armor, each plate takes up 3 hulls, so we're only gonna be able to put 2 on. So let's keep it at above 6. So let's keep going. Now, as you can notice, I'm going to put a bunch. I am crossing arcs. That's fine. With some of these smaller hulls like this, it's what you have to do. So I'm just trying to get this all nice, well, and balanced. Okay, I got 8.4 there, 8.4 there. Let's get 8.4 in the front. And 8.4 here at the side. Now notice I am keeping the weapon group from touching any of the sides and these other arcs, because I want it to fire out of the front. I do not want it to fire out of either of the sides, and if you connect it on all sides, it does not fire out of every side. It will still only fire out of the side that has the most compartment allocated to it. Okay, I added too much, so I just need to take 1 off, and there we go. I have 8.4 free space across the board. So now I know I have 33 hull and 231 power to work with for my projectile I'm going to be putting on this light fighter. So light fighter version 1.0, because I'm sure we'll end up making modifications. Now we have submitted our design.
Research complete.
And we're going to go down to our weapons now, and we are going to make a projectile for a light fighter. Go ahead and just put, you can set the piercing ratio wherever you want. It really does not affect the design, just how much the damage is allocated. I'll show you that here in a moment. We want to put this down to 1. Our radar's range is 50, so we're going to go with a maximum range of 50 here. And now for setting up our alloys, I've already gone ahead and made the 3 alloys that it shows you that it needs, but depending on if you're using magnetic or explosive or any other kind of payloads, it's going to change what your projection and payload 2 are. So I'm going to go ahead and set these 3 up so I can see what I need. And there we go, I've used the alloys that I've created, but now I know I need an alloy that has a desired value of 6 for combustiveness. So for that's for my payload 2, and for my projection I need a magnetic production of 5s. Alright, now for now, so I can keep this going, I'm just going to select some minerals as sort of a placeholder, so to say. And I'm going to give this guy some power here. I'm going to name him Light Fighter, PRJ, 50 range, 90 DPS. Now, as you can see here, I need to raise minerals or lower my hull. So what I'm going to do is start playing with my minerals here, and it did not like that at all. So let's see what I can do about this. Let's try starting to up the production time. and that's going to actually lower. So I did that backwards. What I need to do is lower. There we go. I went the opposite direction on that one. So now the design is possible. I'm going to go ahead and submit it. But I don't want to use straight minerals for those. So let's go into our alloys here, and let's make some better alloys. Now that first one we needed is for our payload 2 that needed a combustiveness of 6. So let's set that to 6. So U to none, U to none, redesign.
Research complete.
And then this one was going to be the projection, which required magnetic production of 5, so magnetic production 5. Now let's take a look at these alloys and see what they look like. These have a lot of extra stuff here, so let's go get rid of this refraction, see what happens here.
Research complete.
I grabbed the wrong one. I need refraction.
Research complete.
And voila, just because I removed that one thing, it fixed all of this.
Research initiated.
Now I can research this.
Research initiated. Research complete.
Alright, now it is finished. I can come back down to my light fighter projectile I designed earlier, and I can put in the proper alloys that I just created. And as you can see here, you can see what your damage types are. You got your thermal, impact, magnetic, and pierce. So let's go ahead and up the pierce here and see what that does. See, that took out our impact. So what I usually like to do is I like to set it at 50. That way I'm doing 4 different types of damage, and I know no matter what type of armor they have, I'm at least going to be doing some type of damage. So let's design that.
Research complete. Research initiated.
Okay, now that our projectile is done researching, we can go up to our engine and research it. Since we know that the size of our light fighter cannon, which is 32, will fit in the 33, and our power was 222, and we had 231 to work with, so we're all good there.
Research initiated. Research complete.
And now let's research our hull.
Research initiated.
Alright, now that our light fighter hull has finished researching, we can go to our prototypes. Let's find our light fighter hull that we created. Here it is. Our light fighter engine. We're just going to put a beginning radar on it. We're putting a projectile on. Here is the projectile we created. We're going to place it on there. Then we're going to go ahead and throw the armor that we designed earlier in this series on. And this has a suggested crew of 1 and has 2 crews, so we are fine. We don't need to add any security. And we have lots of armor and a very decent fighter on our hands. So let's go ahead and design it, or name it. And submit our design.
Research complete.
Now we look in our prototypes at our light fighter, and here we can see our finished results, and we have a nice combat rating of 3215. So let's go ahead and research
Research
it.
initiated. Research complete.
Now, one thing you'll notice, I only have 2 of my armor built right now, and if I were try to build my armor here, it would take forever. So what I'm going to do is set up my upgraded refineries to each build
Production
one
initiated.
to where I can build the 6 more that I need to be able to have the 8 total I need for each side.
Production initiated. Production initiated. Production initiated. Production initiated. Production initiated.
To show you a good example, I'll use
Production
one of these
complete.
factories as a example. I'm going to try and build one of my armors here at this factory.
Initiated. Production complete.
Notice how much longer this is taking
Production complete.
compared to this. Now let's go ahead and try building our new light fighter. Here you can see our new light fighter projectile. And let's
Production
give it a build.
initiated.
Okay, now our light fighter has finished and we can
Moving out.
see his ability.
Deveroes.
Now to see how far his actual range is, if you hold down the Alt key, the white line right here is going to show you what his visible range is, and the red line here is showing you what his weapons range is. So he can fire anywhere within that range. And congratulations, you have just
Setting a
built
new
your
course.
first light
Setting a
fighter.
new course.